The Deep Media Pulse, Decoding Brand and Content Evolution, a video podcast powered by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. Today, we are on conversation with Luca Bonecchi, VP of Licensing for Europe at Miraculous, the perfect guest to discuss transmedia. It is now time to explore the world of Miraculous, to find out about the correct strategies to apply when working with IP across different platforms.
Good evening. I'm Veronica Orciari and welcome to Media Pulse, the first video podcast dedicated to the evolution of content, IPs and brands produced by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. Let's introduce the guest, Luca Bonecchi from Miraculous Corp. We're here with Luca to discuss how Miraculous has managed to move across different types of content and different types of distribution and build such a successful and strong brand. So I would start with discussing what factors guide the choice when you have to move across different platforms such as publishing, gaming, or consumer products. How do you decide when and how to expand into the next project, and what are the steps necessary to ensure that it will be a successful move?
Thank you, Veronica, for having me here. And the great things about Miraculous is that we have successfully expanded beyond our core element, which was content. We are talking about an IP that is born as TV content more than 10 years ago now. We just celebrated 10 years. How we look where to expand. I think there are two things about it. The first is where the audience, where are the fans, where the attention of is. Because we know that that's what the most important, one of the most important elements to consider. So, for example, the fan, if you look like 10 years ago, everyone was watching TV and that was the media. Now you need to move across social media, YouTube, VOD, platform, gaming. Some of these are products. Gaming are both a product and a platform of content. The other one is publishing, traditionally always been product and content provider. So we are really looking exactly where our audience, which is quite diverse. We're talking about an IP for, at least for us, that goes from older preschooler to young adults and Gen Z, where their eyeball are, their attention is, and in some cases where the money is going from their wallet, because that's another stuff that we need to consider in licensing. The other side that we have to consider is obviously what is the fit of our IP with that product, that platform, and that specific element. And for example, we will never go for something, the usual example is something that will not fit for a brand. We still have a brand that is at heart, a kids brand that appeals to young adults. So it needs to be appropriate for all our audience. So that's one of the things we need to ensure, that the brand should fit the specific platform or the specific product. How we can make it successful? By ensuring that we match that audience where there is their attention and the brand DNA that we have and the brand fit. A good example that we have is new content that we release for TikTok and for YouTube Shorts, where we have a more older audience compared to the preschooler or younger kids. So we went for a vertical drama, 1 minute clips, making like a 15 minutes episode, focused on the teenage love and teenage love triangle in the content. When we go for gaming, that is targeting more 7, 8 years old, like Roblox or a console game, for example, what we released in the past year, we go for action and adventure. So we focus on a different element of the IP, and the DNA is always the same. We just decline it in the right way for the audience and the platform itself.
Thank you. And in this sense, would you say that there are different sort of results depending on the regional engagement? Like, how does Miraculous do in different areas, and what are the differences that you notice geographically?
Absolutely. The great thing is that we take the same DNA of a superhero story, a coming of age, of a girl in Paris becoming a hero and saving the day every day with his friend, combining the aspirational elements of being a hero with the everyday life of a teenager, and we make it, which is universal, and then we make it special for each and every audience. We see that different audiences appreciate different elements. I know it sounds stereotypical, but sometimes in Latin America, the love story, the telenovela style is very much appreciated, or in some markets like UK, where we have launched slightly later, so our audience still a bit on the youngish side. The superhero element is coming out strong. But then we take that and we ensure that we talk to the local culture and the local audience in the right way. So again, simple thing, style guides in color are adapted for Latin America versus Europe. And in Europe you get different treatment of products in Southern Europe with, for example, for Italy compared to what you have in the Nordics, so more simple. Or we go to a further extent to go and lean into the local cultural happening, cultural events or celebration. Mexico, for Los Días de los Muertos, we had a doll that was taking the clear and specific look that you have for Los Días de los Muertos. Or we released in the Netherlands for King's Day our orange t-shirt based all about being king. Or being king, and that was dedicated just for the Netherlands. Or we tied into a celebration like the Three Kings, but the Galets des Rois in France with the charm and a specific promotion in Intermarché, in the supermarket, to have charms for that specific. Or, since it was just a couple of weeks ago, Easter eggs, something that is very specific for Italy, Spain. The flame Easter eggs, that's something that we do just in Italy and a very limited country. It's not something that we have in Germany or that we have or in the US, for example.
I think now we focused a lot on the successes and the positive outcomes. But at the same time, I would like to discuss with you what could be the challenges and what have been the challenges in your experience of expanding an IP so broadly across so many different platforms. What are the risks, and what, in your experience, are the potential downsides of trying to do this and move across media?
Well, the biggest challenge is to ensure that you stick to your core value, to your brand DNA, and at the same time you are flexible enough to adapt and without diluting it or twisting it for the audience, the culture, if we're talking about country, the audience, if you're talking a specific platform or a product, or even just in a way that doesn't really twist your brand value just to fit on a product. So I think that's the biggest challenge we have. It's a challenge on one side and also an opportunity, because having that challenge, you say, okay, where we can get next. So we have been on, we are very strong with YouTube Kids. That's how it came out, like our 1 minute clip vertical drama set. We're very strong on YouTube Kids. How we can get on Shorts, which actually has a slightly different audience. We age it up in that way. Or another things that we have been looking at in the US, we have a lot of animation, but again, how we can speak to an audience that is not the kids. We created a specific manga style guide, an anime style guide, and we created and we enabled and that enabled us to go into a promotion with bubble tea in the US with Kung Fu Tea, for example. And that was speaking to their to that audience. So sometimes the challenge to reach a specific audience make you think about how we can adapt and evolve our brand for that specific audience, or that specific country, or that specific product. So I think that's the challenge, but also is a good challenge because it forces us to evolve and push the boundary on our IP.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you can keep succeeding. Thank you, Luca. Grazie for being here with us today. And keep following us to find out more about transmedia cross-media.
You've just listened to the Deep Media Pulse, Decoding Brand and Content Evolution, a video podcast powered by Licensing Magazine and Animation Journal. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.